So, this is part one of 4 parts of my mini Bible series about the topic of meat. There are 4 parts. Part one is about can you eat meat? Part two is are there any meat restrictions, which are still binding to this day? Part three will be should you eat meat? And part four will be are we at liberty to judge the dietary decisions of others? So, let's dive right in. Okay, so part one, can you eat meat? First, looking at Genesis, the book of Genesis, there's this introduction to the notion that humans are sovereign, have dominion and control over all animals. So, looking at Genesis 1, verse 26, then God said, "Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground." So, does this mean that just because you have control over animals, you can eat them? Well, to have that answer, we have to keep reading. And just a couple of verses ahead, Genesis 1, verse 29 and 30, there's this notion that basically anything that grows from the soil is to be used as this food source for every living creature on earth, which includes animals and humans too. So let's read. Then God said, "I give you every seed bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be yours for food. And to all the beasts of the earth, and all the birds in the sky, and all the creatures that move along the ground, everything that has the breath of life in it, I give every green plant for food." And it was so. So here clearly, there's this permission to eat, plants and whatnot, but it doesn't really talk about meat. So if we keep reading, we get our answer. In Genesis 9, verse 3, there's this final introduction to the notion of meat, which grants the permission. Let's read. "Everything that lives and moves about will be food for you. Just as I gave you the green plants, I now give you everything." So it's pretty clear that humans can eat meat. However, are there any restrictions to eating meat? For example, are we prohibited to eat pork? And part two will address this question.